This is Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie. Join us for unbuttoned and unedited conversations.
Hello, welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Julie, and we are excited to welcome Andrea Brooks today. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to finally meet you. We're really looking forward to the upcoming season of One Calls the Heart, which is season 11.
Yes.
My goodness. Congratulations.
Crazy.
Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, I feel like in so many ways, my brain is still stuck in season 10 because obviously we couldn't talk about it for so long, given the strikes and the situation in the industry. And so I feel like I'm not over 10 yet, despite having just finished 11 at the end of last year. So yeah, I just feel like there's so much going on in the Hardy's universe, and I'm so excited to chat about it.
I don't think anybody is over season 10 yet.
Yeah. It was lovely. The season was beautifully shot. There were some amazing scenes, the dialogue and things happening. It was fun to see, and even brought us some music.
Yes. Yep. Sure did. All these years in, we got the music.
Finally. Love that. There we go. Okay, so you play Dr. Faith Carter, who we met way back in season 1. Season 2. Sorry about that. So did you have any idea when you joined the show as a series regular, kind of what Faith's journey would be?
Oh my goodness, no. I had no idea. No one could have, I don't know how anyone could anticipate that a show you are fortunate enough to join could go on over a decade. I had no idea. I remember knowing that my role in season 2 went well, and I received good feedback, and I was excited about that. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, great. Maybe this means I could come back for 3. Wouldn't that be amazing if I got to return somehow? I never in my wildest dreams expected that would mean joining the show. I just thought, oh, wouldn't it be great if they did a little check-in sometime? So yeah, I literally still pinch myself every year when we go back the first day shooting. It's like the first day of school, and I'm just like, I can't believe we're still here. How lucky are we?
It is kind of crazy. And as fans, we've watched, a full decade, and we're coming into over a decade. You are a young actress. You've been in this show almost a third of your life.
Absolutely. I joined the show. I was 25 years old. I had just finished grad school. I've been acting since I was 15, so I knew that I would continue acting, but I didn't know in what capacity. You're mid-20s. There's a lot of uncertainty in life. So I had no idea that this little show I had a job on would continue now into my mid-30s. Just no idea. It still sounds unbelievable to me.
Yeah, and you've had two children while
yes.
the show, and isn't it wonderful that you were able to just keep going?
Yes, I can't believe that I've gone through 2 pregnancies on One Calls the Heart. Those are 2 seasons I will admit, I have a tough time watching because your body it keeps growing and you're trying to hide it. And I've just so many stories and memories from those times. But it was also just such a fun journey to get to go through pregnancy alongside so many of your friends. Because in real life, we truly are friends. I know that that's cliche and everyone says, oh, we're a family, but we truly all know each other so well. And I mean, we're there for each other through everything, graduations, weddings, proposals. We've seen so much of each other's lives together that it was just such a fun thing to go through a pregnancy every morning, sit in the makeup chair, have that check-in. How's the baby? How are you feeling? How was the doctor's appointment? It was just such a community experience. And I think back so fondly.
I think we look and see, we love seeing the shows and this community support working women and through their lives. And, that's more standard in other professions, but it's nice to see that happening on the screen and that they're working around it. You had some amazing costuming and
Yes, the tents, as I like to call them, the capes that just
The
kind of
cape,
expand
that
as the
green
season
cape,
goes
though,
on.
is like, I kind of love it.
I know. I mean, genius. Barbara, our longtime designer, is fabulous, and she had so many ideas. And just bless her for rising to the challenge. And I think any woman might experience this if you're going through a pregnancy, worrying about work. That's just one extra layer of anxiety. But I never once felt like I was a burden. I felt so welcomed. I felt so supported. I knew at any given moment there'd be someone standing there handing me a water in a chair. And I knew that the costumes were taken care of. I knew that the directors were super aware and super helpful, trying to determine how we would block scenes accordingly. I mean, it was a joy. And that's such a strange thing to say when you're dealing with something like a pregnancy on set, but it really was a joy.
Yeah, no, we love that, and we once again love seeing that supported through 2 different seasons of pregnancy. You know, lots of working women can really relate to that, continuing working through pregnancy and after their children are born. So we love seeing that play out, actually. So it was fun to get your behind the scenes, plus how you actually looked in the costume.
Yes.
No, you did like such a nice job with sharing that journey, right?
I mean, I think I still do have a backlog of content. Again, like my brain's still being in 10, but it was interesting because Barbara did a lot of work just playing with angles and patterns of gowns and dresses. And she did a lot of interesting things to distract the eye. Like she added extra seams and darts and just different patterns to sort of take away. So if you're shooting dead on to camera, you could almost you can manipulate the look without actually to digitally alter anything. So yeah, she's a master. I told her we should have a YouTube seminar one day on how to tackle hiding a pregnancy in a TV show, because I think she's just so spectacular at what she does.
I think I love that.
Yeah, we actually talked about this with another director, another one of Brian Bird's projects, actually, hiding Rachel Boston's.
Oh, Rachel, I love Rachel.
Yeah, her and Trevor shot a movie, and she was like 6.5, 7 months pregnant during that, and then he talked about shooting straight on because it's 2-dimensional. So he shot a full length wedding dress shot, and you can't tell. It's crazy.
Do you know what? I heard all about this because I did a cameo on one of Rachel Boston's movies last year.
Yes.
So the two of us sat down and just chatted all things pregnancy, shooting, babies, and I just adore her. And I did hear about that shot, and just it's such an interesting trick because you can deceive the eye from just standing this way. You don't want to move this direction, or it's going to be given away. But sometimes you can get away with a lot with just some creative thinking.
And just, like creative thinking and let's keep moving. Anyways, it's been fun to watch your journey. And I just kind of really love that, on screen. I mean, sometimes you can tell a little bit, but really the comparison compared to where you were in your pregnancies was just kind of spectacular. So anyways, we enjoyed that a lot. Let's go back to Faith. She starts out as a nurse in a large hospital. Taking care of Tom Thornton. That's how we meet her. Then her career journey takes her to become a doctor, small town doctor. And now you're a non-medical person. Have you enjoyed playing someone in the medical profession? And what do you like about it? And what have you found challenging?
I love it. I will say, when I used to have a huge phobia of hospitals, doctors, getting needles. I was the kid in school who would always faint if we had to have immunizations. So I never thought I would get over this. And I even remember in season 2, when I was dealing with some of the nursing paraphernalia, they had a bunch of antique blood pressure machines. I remember even then thinking I don't want to administer a blood. I don't want to do this. I don't feel comfortable. So I feel like in the early days, I was quite queasy. But as we've gone on, I've developed a thicker skin. I've gone through 2 pregnancies. I am not afraid of the medical system whatsoever anymore. That phobia has passed. And so I think as my character's grown, I too as a person have grown, and I've taken quite an interest. I remember deep diving the life of Florence Nightingale back in the early days of One Calls the Heart. Learning about early medicine, the advancements in medicine in the 20th century, and how fortunate we are to have come this far medically, and what that would have meant for a character back then. So I did all that deep diving. And I love research. So that was always super helpful. But I will say when I found out that Faith would be going to medical school, first of all, I was elated because I thought it was just the most spectacular way to deal with taking a maternity leave.
Right.
I was like, I get to level up on my maternity leave. Let's go. I love it. I love that. But two of my best friends from growing up are doctors. One's a veterinarian and one's a medical doctor. And we've had a group chat on our phones for years. And the day that I hung up the Faith Carter medical degree on the wall, I remember, photographing it and sending it to the chat and being like, well, I joined you guys.
Join the club.
I joined the club.
Doctor, change the chat name to doctors.
Two doctors and a fake doctor.
It sounds like a movie title. Too real and a fake.
Yes, it does. It does. But they've been great too, because I've definitely texted them in a panic being like, is this believable? Would you do such and such? And obviously we're talking about medicine 100 years ago. And obviously a lot of liberties are taken. When you're shooting a TV show, it's not all going to be perfectly realistic, but I try. And I do text the group. I'm like, does this make sense? Would I be giving this? Is this the right type of medication for the day? And the two of them just have a riot. Just
I know they do. Because the people in medicine love to watch that stuff. And
totally. And they're always quick to point out what we've done wrong, which they are right.
Maybe. I'm in the medical profession. That's what I do.
And I'll get the chat from Julie like, that was not good.
For you, what do you do?
I'm a critical care pharmacist at a children's hospital.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah. That's amazing.
So things like when you're prescribing iron for an iron deficiency anemia child,
I double check the dose? I should add you to this chat.
Will you double check the dose?
Did I double check the dose? And
yes. That's what May is supposed to be doing these days. That's what May is supposed to be doing.
That's right.
Correct. But you never actually here. She never actually sends the prescription over there.
I know. We haven't perfected. Faith and May have not perfected the system yet, because so often someone's doing a run and you're like, I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
Where does that go? How does that work?
How is this working?
I have thoughts. I have thoughts about that soda fountain in May and how to bring in the Chinese heritage too. So that would be appropriate in time period.
Well, you should consult for us.
You should message Brian Bird. We've had Brian on a couple of times here.
Good.
But yeah, no, it's fun to have those things. It's fun to see, and you're that kind of there where like a lot of things are coming forward in medicine. So it's like, right.
Yes.
We can see some things rolling out here.
The thing that gets me is the sterilization. When you have the tools there and it's just like, there's no sterilizer. I mean, they didn't know. That's the tough one for me to wrap my head around.
Right. There's a whole lot of few things that they didn't know and learned the hard way.
Yes.
We learned a lot of things the hard way. But some things they figured out even if they didn't know why, like even in 1918 during the flu pandemic, they masked, right?
Yes. That was fascinating. I remember I knew that we probably wouldn't be touching on that subject on our show, but so interesting with the timing. It was very, very interesting. There was one scene where Paul Green and I did have masks on because we were performing a surgery. That's the one time that we had masks on the show. And I liked that.
Cody's surgery?
That was not Cody.
Ned's surgery?
That was Ned. That was Ned. Yes.
Remember the shadow scene? Like
that's right. We did it with the shadows. Yes.
Right.
That was a really creative shot. Yeah. But I like that. The fact that we had those white masks that did up back in, there were two ties. I just thought that was an interesting nod to the true past.
Yeah. We still get sometimes tie masks at our hospital every now and then. Well, when masks were in such short supply during the pandemic, we are just down the street from 3M, and 3M would run us masks to the hospital.
Wow.
So whatever they had coming off the line. So,
yeah. Well, there you go.
Sometimes we still do get ties. They're not material. They're out of like the kind of the hospital mask stuff. But you still get some of that tie. And some of our surgeons prefer them because they want to tie tight.
Interesting.
So
As opposed, okay. I mean, that makes
As
sense. You
opposed to
could
the
probably do a better job of securing it to your face.
Right.
Yeah, they don't want it moving around. So they want
I
to be
like that.
below their eye line, particularly like our neurosurgeons. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have glasses too, fogging up, I get it. I mean, this stuff, this information is so fascinating to me.
Oh no, that whole glasses things when they're tubing and lining and they're fogging, it's like
That's a problem for everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the pro trick, like the treatment for the back of goggles or whatever, the anti-fog stuff. There's a lot of that happens for people who wear glasses.
I did not know that there was a solution, an anti-fog solution.
Yeah.
Okay. You learn something every day.
Every day.
We'll have to bring some to Hope Valley.
You have somebody like waving by.
And can invent it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
They did that well. They had cotton gowns too, which is what they had. They didn't have anything else. So some of those things, it's like you don't have to hear all the details, but you want to see the ones that are there be correct. And I think they have done a nice job with that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people on our show are really into research, which I'm thankful for, because it is nice coming in knowing that we care. Because we shoot so quickly, TV is so fast paced that it does take some extra effort to kind of sit awake for that extra 20 minutes at night and really think about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish and trying to be as realistic as possible. But I really appreciate that about everyone. I think everyone cares quite deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of actually people that we run into in the fandom as a whole are professionals. Like there's a lot of doctors, there's teachers, there's nurses, there's people that are really experts at different things.
Business writers,
absolutely.
Writers. So it's really fun to see. I think that's why people care so much.
And that's one of the cool things about a town. When you're chronicling the journey of a town, there's so many jobs. So there's so much for people to relate to. And I know whenever I've done when I've met fans or done any of the conventions, it's always so nice to meet people in the medical field. And I'm always honored. So many people have asked me, they're like, oh, do you have any medical training? I don't. But every time they say that, I could cry. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you. I try my best.
It's it's fun. It's fun to see. But there's so many different job choices in a town. And sometimes some of the characters have a lot of different jobs they do.
The running joke of so many jobs. I think Hickam might take the cake.
He's done it all.
He's averaging a job per season, which is really interesting.
At least.
When he became the oil expert, I'm like, he read about it.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
I know. I liked when he was in the oil game. I thought he was quite good at that.
Yeah. He read a book. He figured it out.
Yeah. And one of the first scenes I ever did with Ben, oh my goodness, this must be season 3, I'm assuming. But we were going into the saloon to help with something. And for some reason, his character had built a dollhouse. I don't even remember if this made the cut, but we were walking through town and he was holding this dollhouse and it was like, I built this. So I guess he's also a carpenter in his spare time.
Sure. Yeah. There's a few in town. There's a few carpenters in town.
Sure.
Right. I think Lee made something like a chair that fell apart.
That's true. Right? That's true. Perhaps Nathan bad carpentry, but it still exists.
Yeah. Nathan carved the plaque. I mean,
that's right. Yes.
Together they could open a woodworking shop so everyone could have another job.
I could see it. I actually could. I could see the town rallying together. And I mean, you'd get some wood chopping scenes with the men. I'm sure people wouldn't complain.
If you can make that happen, the fandom would be real happy.
I love that.
All the gifts.
Everybody's like, yes. Yeah, make the wood chopping happen. It's been a long time since wood chopping on that show.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the last time I've seen it myself.
Well, there's a couple sketchy. Season 7, all right, wood chopping, Jack and Kevin were. But we had a little let's see, Lucas was sort of chopping, but Nathan ended up chopping for him, and then Joseph was.
Was Joseph chopping one too? Okay, good.
When they were camping. More of a chat and chop. It's a classic, a chat and chop.
You're right. It's a classic. We've got to get this every season. We have to make sure.
Everyone wants a chat and chop. So,
I love that.
That's what those scenes are for.
How can I put a hashtag?
There you
go. Bill and Nathan have the entire baseball themed chat.
Yes.
So the next time someone has one, you just ask them how their chat and chop went.
Chop. Okay, I'm on it. I'll secure this hashtag now. I'll get this. I'm sure it already exists, right?
We maybe have generated a few hashtags in
I
our
love
time.
We did. We tried to create one for you too.
Yeah, we did. I actually made up Medi Monty. So
you did.
Oh, yeah,
Wow, that's all. Thank you. That was a good.
That was a great hashtag.
That was a great hashtag.
It was a great hashtag. Come on, I'm in the medical field, and people are like, "Well, they need a hashtag." Yes. I'm like, "We're taking control of this. Come on."
I love that.
Yeah, Medi Monty.
Julie, this is amazing. I'm so often never know where these things come from, and then they happen, and then you forget they originated somewhere because it's just
we purposely made it up. Actually, we were like, let's make up some good hashtags.
Had a meeting.
I want control of my hashtags.
You know, the hashtag discussion, that's something that we talk about on set. We're like, oh, something big's happening this season. What do you think the hashtag will be? And we all joke. And then we all forget about it. And then eventually a hashtag wins. And we're just sort of like, oh, that's what it is. And it's sort of funny because you have your idea and then you let it go and then it comes back at you. It's like a boomerang. And then boom, there's your hashtag.
Yeah. No, I still like Medi Monty. We were like,
I like Medi Monty.
That was a good hashtag. That was a good hashtag. And it made sense, right?
Yeah. That wouldn't have never crossed my mind. I like it. It. Go with the professions.
The medical person came up with
Speaking of Medi Mounty, I think we have to talk about Faith's love life.
Sure. Her problematic love life.
Look.
Oh boy, let's go.
Sometimes we have a love life. Sometimes it's chasing squirrels. Is that what you said, Julie? Yeah.
Yes.
Squirrels. Yes.
So yes, can you tease anything for Faith in season 11?
Sure. I think I have come to love the fact that Faith is unlucky in love. I mean, obviously, I would love to see her happy and settled down. I would love that for her eventually. But I do think that this is something that people can relate to. It's tricky. Love is tricky and the heart can be fickle. And sometimes you have to let a good thing go. And she's been through it. And I respect her for that. And I do love that I don't want to call it a flaw, but anytime love gets too difficult, she retracts into herself and then just puts everything into her career. And that's just so who she is. And I'm so comfortable with that part of her and playing that. And I do think that it's tricky. It's hard being single. It's hard. And there are a lot of people who watch this show who are also single. And I do think that despite everything and all the turbulence and everything she's gone through, she still has hope. She 100% does. And this is the Hallmark Channel. This is One Calls the Heart. We know it's about hearts that call. I do.
Sometimes that heart calling takes a really long time.
Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes a decade or longer. But it still calls. It still calls. And I don't think she's shut off to the idea. In fact, I think that the whole Medi Mounty scenario was interesting because it was two kind of damaged people finding each other in their own turmoil and kind of recognizing that this is a universal experience. Everyone deals with heartbreak and everyone deals with all the confusion that comes after. And that doesn't mean, it's not the end. Sometimes it takes a catalyst. It takes something like a Medi Mounty scenario to be like, aha, like I truly don't know if Faith had ever fully dealt with losing Carson. And just what that entailed because they were so close to potentially getting married. And when that all fell apart and they both had to follow their own hearts and go upon their own journeys, I think that she kind of repressed that. And it kind of took just a spark of something with someone else to kind of realize, oh, I can do this again. And this is okay. So I really love that about the Medi Mounty situation. I don't think that made her, angry or spiteful in any way. If anything, I think it just showed her like, you can do this, you can have a career and you can fall in love. Like this is possible. This is in the cards for you. So don't let it pass you by next time. That's kind of how I read that whole thing.
But also don't be afraid to speak up when it's not right.
Right. Sure.
That's
exactly.
I really appreciated from Faith, right? Like,
yeah.
Enough to say like, this isn't,
this just isn't. Yeah. It's good and it's fine, but it's not they weren't each other's person. It was close and maybe it probably could have worked for a lot of reasons, but it just wasn't right. So, and that's okay. That's okay. Right. And I think that took a lot of maturity on both of their parts. And it was fun to play as an actor because it's just a sign of maturity and growth, and getting to play these characters for so many years. They have to grow. They can't just stay the same. They have to have these shifts. And that was a big one.
And these characters are not 20 something. So
no.
It's right. No, it was, we actually really appreciated like that scene a lot. Like we love scenes with a lot more depth to it like that, or that type of conversation. So we like loved that scene. We're like,
I love that scene too. And I remember reading it and going like, how are we going to do this? How's this going to go? Do I want to play up sadness? Like I remember just really thinking about it. And then just at the end, I really love working with Kevin McGarry. I feel like we find our groove quite easily. And it was just like, it just felt so natural. It was one of those scenes that was so easy to memorize. You kind of look at it, you're like, I know this because I know this situation. And I have friends that are going through this exact thing. And I think, like you said, that's the difference between your 20s and 30s. In your 20s, oh my goodness, if something ends, it can feel like the end of the world. But by your 30s, you're mature and you know what you want. And you're so secure in who you are in comparison to your life a decade prior. And I thought that was just a huge showcase of just growing up.
The secure in who you are. Like, I'm going to throw this out here because this was in the fandom. We heard two different conversations. Faith is very secure in who she is. And some people did not like the way Faith is like very like forward about that. And I loved it because I work with these women. These are my women. I know them. It's my horse. It's my cart. I'm driving it. And
absolutely.
It's my patient. Like,
absolutely.
I know these women. That is how it is, right?
100%. And it had to be said that way because whenever I think about Faith and how she's matured post going to, finishing her medical degree and becoming a doctor, I always think about this. She would have been in Chicago in a class with all men who would have looked at her and just scoffed. And she would have had to prove herself so much time and time again, and how exhausting that would be. And especially about a female doctor, total anomaly. So you'd be so used to fighting that fight. And I was really happy that we got to that place where the writers were secure enough too to be like, no, we can call it as it is because this is just how it has to be. Because if you don't stand up for yourself, you'll get bulldozed.
Right. I'm going to say I work in an environment that's not it's a very team approach environment, but maybe a change of the point of view of this exact same thing is you are also there's a lot of women in this environment who are strong and smart and brilliant, but they are responsible for their own piece and they will own it all the way to the end. And so it's very much the same mindset. Like you're taking the responsibility of these patients. And so you have to be responsible for all your pieces. So I really related to it. And I had to come through a few times, people who don't work under those circumstances, maybe don't see that type of thing, but I work in that circumstances under the best of circumstances all the time. And I totally relate. It was super, super believable.
That's so good. Thank you so much. That's so nice to hear. And I do want there to be a distinction. I want when people go back and they start the When Calls the Heart journey, season 1, I really want people to see the growth. And I know, Faith as a nurse probably wouldn't have done. I mean, she would have deferred to the doctor. It would have been so different. She was younger. I just really am so proud of the journey she's taken. And I really, really love the scenes where she, plants her feet firmly on the ground and she says, no, this is how it is. And I love that about her.
Yeah. And historically, she has taken those stands. I think season 3, she moved to Hope Valley and left her fiance and something with the dad. I don't know. So Faith has made these choices consistently. So it's really nice to kind of see her follow through with that in all the little things, even just having the guy you crush on take you on rounds. Yeah,
totally. You're like it is so fun talking about this because you guys understand. You guys know this show so well. But I think the thing with Faith is she's always taken the hard path. I think anytime there's a choice, in the 1910s, 20s, it would have been much easier to move to a town and then your fiance shows up. He's like, we're leaving. The easier choice would be okay. And to pack up and go home and be a wife. And that would have been the easy choice. She didn't do that. So from day one, she's always kind of taken the I don't know what I want to call it, but the murky
the not
disheveled.
obvious
Exactly.
You could say she's always followed her heart. That fits right in, right?
That's true. That's totally true.
Yeah. She's done what's called her heart, right? And
so it all makes sense.
It all makes sense. But she really has. She's done what's called her heart, and she's very true to herself, and she's very good at it. So like there's no reason to like you need your doctor to be like my horse, my cart, my patient,
absolutely,
my medicine. You can't have your doctor being like, okay,
how are you feeling? What do you want to do?
Whatever you want to do is fine with me, right? You can't have that.
So. No, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's we kind of love it.
Definitely. And then we also saw the very tender side of Faith as well, you know, even that scene with Nathan, but also with Rosemary and, you know, the famous motherless mother scene. So we get to see her nurturing too, which is also
I loved those scenes. That
was good.
It was so fun getting to do that with Pascal, and I was pregnant when we were shooting that. She had a fake belly, and there was something really funny about that. But yeah, like the journey of motherhood and dealing with loss and just having that all kind of show up in one kind of beautifully written scene, or a few, because we had a lot of check-ins that season. Yeah, it was just so neat. Like that's what I love about the doctor's office is you see people at their worst, but you also kind of see people at their best and most hopeful, vulnerable, but also there's a source of encouragement, and there's something so positive about that space as well. And I've shared so many scenes with so many amazing people in there, and that's still my favorite place to shoot on the show because there's just so many memories in that doctor's office, in that good old infirmary.
There's been a lot of great scenes in the infirmary. So many scenes. Some really great things. Speaking of shooting with fun people, the Girl Gang came into being this last season. And moved Faith and Fiona and May all moved into the upstairs.
Yeah, we joked all season. We're like, this is Friends. Like presumably, if you had a camera upstairs, we all have a room.
I was waiting for the pivot scene to go up the steps with the
when you're moving.
Yes.
Should have been moving the sofa, like up to the something even like
moving the sofa. Oh, I would have loved to have done that.
I was like, where's the pivot? Come on.
Yeah, get stuck. What do we do? Call Hickam, the guy with all the jobs. Come help us.
Exactly. Hickam could have come.
He would have.
Because he doesn't know who he likes. Is it Faith?
That's true. Oh goodness. That's so true. The confusion of a small town.
Right. Because at the beginning he had a thing for Faith. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, there's not a lot of people in Hope Valley. We have to remember. It can seem comical, but we really are a very small community.
Yeah. Really. I went to a small high school, so I know.
There you go.
Very slim pickings. I did marry one of them.
Oh, that's great.
And she married the kid out of her third grade class. So.
Oh, first grade.
Oh,
like a Hallmark story.
It is. It 100% is. It's adorable.
Well, congratulations. That's something that not many people can say.
18. I think.
Oh, it's so good.
Small town schools. Okay.
School, yeah.
Fashion. Faith is a young professional. Ooh. And you've always had a little more like contemporary costuming, but we're moving into the 1920s.
Yes.
Is there like a costume piece that you really like?
Ooh, I do love how Barbara's really kept up the professional look, because Faith often wears vests and like a buttoned up look, but you're right. It is still in a way youthful and modern for the time. I did love in the ball scene, and I know that I buried myself in the background of that scene because I was so pregnant, but she got me this beautiful flapper dress, and I got to wear the little headband, and I felt like a new character. It was just sort of like that was the moment that I feel like the 20s had arrived, because I looked at everyone was dressed spectacularly. It was there was a flapper vibe going on, and that really just makes you think. You're like, man, we've been on this show for a long time, because this is nothing like it looked 10 years ago. So I'd say that, these little jazzed up elements that we're kind of slowly integrating in to make the 20s known. So great. So fun. But yeah, that little headband with the little flapper outfit was probably my favorite.
We love seeing that, because we want stuff to be following the times, right?
Yeah, sure.
That 20s look was it's very iconic. Like the 20s look, like everyone's seen Great Gatsby. So
yes,
right?
Exactly.
It's for in the fan community for making edits, because you can start pulling in Art Deco elements now.
My favorite.
Right. Right. Oh, so
totally. I mean, there's a balance, right? Because we're still on the prairie and we're still a frontier land. But the 20s have arrived. So I feel like they've done a good job of really blending it, but it's been slow. It's been a slow, steady kind of push into 1920.
Do we get to see a little bit more of that with Faith in season 11?
Yes. Actually, yes, you do. Yes, I can say there's a few new pairs of shoes. There's a few things coming fashion-wise that are different. We did, it was funny because in 10, Barbara had pulled some outfits for me before I told her I was pregnant. And then she was like, oh, okay, let's put these aside. This will be for 11. Let's focus on 10. And then there were a few outfits from 10 that we totally readjusted. Or I say we, like I was involved. I was not involved. I have no skills when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, you're involved.
But so there's a few new outfits, and like everything, as I said, we still hold true to our look and the style of the show, but with each new costume, we it's updated accordingly, I'll say. So well, there's a few little elements this year that are a little different fashion wise.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah,
some of those publicity photos have already been posted for 3 episodes, so it's kind of fun to see some of those things. We certainly are starting to see some of those shorter hemlines and less of that prairie look and more of the 1920s.
Yep, absolutely.
But in those photos, also, there's a couple of pictures of Faith with a little girl that we don't know.
I love it. I will say I did snoop online, and I have looked at some of the commentary for all the photos that have been released thus far. And I'm having a good time kind of reading people's predictions. It's interesting. It's just interesting to see what a photo can lead people to believe.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, are you saying that Hardee's will take giant leaps with?
Will there be a giant leap?
But the little girl in the pictures, some people have recognized her. She was in one of Hallmark's Countdown to Christmas movies. She was in Checking It Twice, known as the little hot cider girl with the teddy bear. She's adorable.
Yes. I love how keen-eyed the Hardees are. I mean, it's unbelievable. You throw a character out there in one image, and the deep dive is done. I am forever, just as an aside, always so impressed.
Easy. Come on, that's the cutest scene with it's her and Kevin besides. So it's an adorable little scene. Everybody recognized her immediately as we saw her. Right? It's like we're like, oh, that's the cute hot cider teddy bear girl. Right?
Like what a way to be known. I love that. There's some interesting things coming in Hope Valley this season, and there are some interesting journeys that we've never been on before, specifically Faith. She's got there's some touching stuff coming up that you've never seen from her before.
That's fun.
Yeah, no, we love that. And we love Faith's journey. I mean, I personally love that you have been there since season 2. And maybe have maybe dated both the Mounties.
Oh my gosh, I know.
My favorite things. I'm like, wait, what?
Faith definitely had the most action in town. Yes.
Oh, Faith. I know. I've had this conversation with Aaron before. It's like, can we do an official count? And I'm always like, no need.
Oh, we probably can.
No need. Yeah,
but that's like the best. Yeah, no, she really likes Mountie, but
she likes a Mountie. I mean, it doesn't help that the one season I asked Elizabeth if she would, or Faith asked Elizabeth if she'd bring home a Mountie dressed in a big red bow. I mean, she's asking for it. I mean, if you say that.
It's true. It's true. Did ask for a Mountie.
I forgot about that.
It's a strange thing to say to someone, but hey, she has a type. She knows what she likes.
Type, it just hasn't worked out. That type has not worked out for her though.
No, so she should really look into switching her type. I really do believe that.
Time to move on from the Mountie.
I think it would be time. Yeah, I don't think you want to go third time. Probably not a charm in that department.
Probably not. I have to say, in the fan side of the world, it had some fun. We were making a lot of edits at the time, and I had an edit going, and I text Sarah, and I just said, I feel like I'm making love out of nothing at all, and then literally put up air supply.
Because we were really trying. We're like, okay, we're gonna get behind this Mountie thing.
Oh, that's so nice.
And then we put it up, and I just put it up with air supply. I'm like, it's going up with air supply.
That's amazing.
It needed to happen. I'm like, well, dang, it's cute, but I am like literally making love out of nothing at all.
It just wasn't the right time. It wasn't the one.
It wasn't their people. Hearts were not being called.
They just weren't called to each other. Both calling probably all over the place. We don't know, but
you don't know. You never know.
Not like they were just getting a busy tone. Got to get Florence on that.
Florence, I'm surprised isn't on that. Speaking of Florence,
no kidding. She should have fixed this for everybody. She's in charge of the calling hearts, after all. The switchboard.
She's always right there. She's got her pulse on everything in Hope Valley.
She really does.
It was a little calmed down in season 10. I need a little more Florence.
I agree. I adore Florence. And what a journey that character's been on. My goodness. Like finding love again when your heart's completely closed off. And Loretta's such a fantastic actress.
Her and Rothgard together are I love them together.
Aren't they? They are just they're like the staple of the community. They hold it all together. When we run out of money, they fund things.
Correct. And then they're just always there, and they
always looking so sharp. So
don't
lovely.
worry if there's 3 shelves in that mercantile, they're gonna have it in stock.
Of course they will, because Florence wouldn't have it any other way.
Ned's gonna get it in, or he's gonna invent it.
Exactly. They're problem solvers.
They are. No, I love them. I wouldn't mind a little more Florence meddling. Like I kind of miss it a little bit.
I do love her meddling, and I do love. She still meddles. She still meddles, even though you're right. She's had this. She's had a big shift in her life. She's still meddles, and stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I mean, because sometimes you just like kind of laugh, and you're like, "What's happening there?"
Yeah.
Like I think the last one that we really were like, "Wait, what?" When she didn't throw her flowers, but gave them to Nathan to give to Elizabeth.
Right. I forgot about that.
That was like an 8. And then that went it's like, oh, the flowers. Because, the wedding flowers.
You're like,
that's
right.
The whole,
the meaning, the responsibility of the wedding bouquet.
It's a Hallmark trope.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And those flowers went from Nathan to Elizabeth, but we won't. There is a poster out with the 2 of them standing on it.
Yes, there is. Beautiful poster.
It is a beautiful
poster. It looks like the Sound of Music. Like the hills are.
You're so right. It totally looks like the Sound of Music.
I may have edited Julie Andrews into the front of that poster, singing as a video. Yeah, it turned out really good.
Funny. I've always told Erin, if you should be on Broadway playing Mary Poppins. I think she'd be the most fantastic Mary Poppins. I think she and Julie Andrews. There's something there. There's something there.
Yes. Well, plus Julie Andrews is as Mary Poppins, of course, is like the governess, right? And that's just this very teacher like. So
yes, totally. Right? Yep.
Yeah, let's make that happen. Maybe we could make that happen on Hope Valley.
Oh, I would love that. Get her the little hat.
In the bag.
Have the umbrella in the bag.
In the
her
bag.
basket could turn into a bag. I like this.
It's like a Hermione Granger bag.
Yes.
Yeah, you can get anything out of it. So
I like where this is going.
Let's write something new.
I mean, if we're going to go another 10 years, we're going to need more content.
We need stories like this.
I got ideas. We've got ideas.
I love it.
I'm like, where are we in the questions?
I know. I tend to get so sidetracked because I genuinely just love talking about this show. It's been so long. I always have so much to say.
We like to talk and we're well versed. So
you are.
Yeah, we
like to chat.
We can go down any rabbit hole with you. So
good.
Andrea, would you play a little game with us?
Sure.
Favorite game? Should we skip to the game, or did I skip something?
No, let's skip some things. Let's ask her about a couple of other things. Let's just to get to know you better.
Sure.
So, did you always know you wanted to be an actor? You did say you started acting at 15.
Yes, I started acting professionally at 15. Before that, I was in theater troupes. And yes, I remember, I still have vivid memories of being 3 years old, sitting in front of the TV, watching Sesame Street, and being like, how can I be that kid on the screen? Like not really knowing what acting was or no concept, but just knowing one day I want to do that and just not really being able to explain that to my parents. And even if I were capable of doing that at that age, they would have been like, no, that's weird. But yeah, I think in the back of my head, I was always so intrigued. I've always been fascinated by movies, stories, books. I was always that kid just lost in a story somewhere. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And yeah, I think in the back of my mind, I was always performing. I was a figure skater. I was a dancer. I always played music. That's all I did as a kid was perform, despite being quite shy. I was a very reserved, quiet, shy kid, but that was kind of my chance to kind of express who I thought I was at the time. And yeah, I think that still rings true today.
I love it. And then because you also went to school for something very different.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If I remember correctly. Is it like math?
No, not math. So I always knew I was going to go to university. I have a very blue collar background on my dad's side and a very educated family on my mother's side. And so I always knew I'd study. I loved school. And I had a full ride scholarship to study, do my Bachelor of Arts. And I studied English Lit and film studies. And then I continued on, did a master's degree, and I was in the film studies program, but I also veered into continental philosophy, as one does.
I knew something real different.
I had a great time.
And a bonus of
my grandfather was a philosopher, so yes. I get that.
So yeah, that was kind of those are my educational pursuits. Loved every second of it. Love learning, love education. And yeah, and I still studied, I stayed within the artsy umbrella. I was still studying film and the history of film and cinema and impacts on culture. Because I just can't stray away from it. I love the industry. I love doing this.
Don't you think that helps you be able to research for different parts of your roles though?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the critical thinking skills that come along with being in academia for as long as I was, yes, that enhances anything. It allows you to break down scripts. It allows you to write well. It gave me a lot of confidence, public speaking, like all those things. Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't take it back for anything because I feel like I do rely on those skills on a daily basis.
Nice. Love that. Okay, if you could you've done a lot of work, TV work, movies, but if you could have any role in any old series or movie, what would it be?
Old series or movie? Oh my goodness. I mean, I love film noir. I love Joan Crawford. I love Marilyn Monroe. I love a lot of those old Hollywood cinema. Like anything from the 30s, 40s, 50s. There's so much incredible stuff from that day and age. But if I could do anything, and I'm just trying to think of a series that was like, these are the questions that I will ponder and I'll give you an answer. And then I'll wake up in the night and be like, no, I disagree with myself.
You can say more than one answer too. We do not have a limit.
I do. I love Mildred Pierce is a classic. That's been one of my all-time favorite movies. With Joan Crawford. I just think she's iconic and incredible. And just the darkness, what they were doing with shadows back then and all the intricate camera work. I'm a fan. So really anything from the classical Hollywood period of cinema. If I could be a fly on the wall and just be a part of any of those in any capacity, it would have been fascinating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What was the first thing you were ever cast in?
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. So first thing ever, okay, sort of strange. I ended up testing for a Disney movie about figure skating called Ice Princess. I did not get that role, but by the end of that process, yeah, by the end of that process, I had an agent and who was kind of ready to, sign my deal. Should I be hired on that movie? I was not. And then he was kind of like, look, do you want me to represent you? I would be interested. And thankfully my mother agreed. And I just started hitting the ground running with the circuit, the auditions, the big cattle call auditions. That's what they used to call it. Horrible thing to call an audition.
Yep.
But they would bring in hundreds of people to read for one little role on one commercial. So I did do commercials for the first few years. And the first booking I ever had was for a commercial for in Vancouver. We have this sort of summer fair every season called the PNE, like PNE.
Yep.
Pacific National Exhibition, I think it's called. And so I booked a job on their summer campaign, and it was the worst. I mean, not the worst. I don't want to offend anybody if anyone worked on this commercial, but the idea is there was me and a guy, and we got to Playland, as they call it, the PNE, and we would ride all the rides. And each time we went on a ride, part of our face would end up displaced. So my mouth ended up here, my eyeball was here, and my nose was over here. And then by the end, we were standing at the gates of Playland and we were like, yeah. And then I had to lift a cup up to my cheek, and then my mouth was here, and drank out of it, and I put it back in. You didn't even see me in the commercial. Like my face the whole time was just, it could have been anyone. It could have been a doll. It did, but that was my first commercial. I do remember seeing it.
See this.
And I hope it was burned in a vault somewhere. I don't think I have a copy, and if I did, it is probably long gone. But yeah, that was my first commercial. Obviously, no one recognized me, which was kind of a blessing in a way, because when you're in high school and you're doing commercials, you will get teased if you're on television. Let me tell you, I discovered that later. But yeah, no one recognized me. And then I just remember being like, I don't know how I feel about this. I guess that was cool, but I got paid and I was excited. And that was my first professional booking.
Nice.
And you'll never forget it.
I think these stories are the best. Is like, what did you do first?
What did you do? My second booking was better. I got cast in an Aaron Spelling TV pilot before he passed away. So like I had some wonderful second, third, fourth experience, but the first one a little strange.
But it makes for a really good story still.
Yeah.
But like that's incredible. You went from that to like an Aaron Spelling.
I know. What a difference. Like I was like on Mrs. Potato Head, and then I did something serious. Also, it didn't get picked up, but yeah, that like, you never know. This industry is strange. You never know. You just can't predict what's going to happen next.
Wow, that's an amazing story, actually.
Okay, so do you have a favorite rom-com?
Oh, so many.
You can list more than one.
I can.
Yeah.
I actually went on a bit of a binge last year. Okay. My best friend's wedding. The Holiday is incredible. Rewatched that. Hadn't seen it since it came out, and I was younger when that came out, so it wouldn't have meant much to me at the time. The Holiday, unbelievable. Yeah. Okay, so my best friend's You've Got Mail. That's a classic. I loved that as a kid. I watched that again and again and again. So that's 3. I'm trying to think if there's another good one. I don't know. Those are my top 3.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Those are great ones, classics.
I mean, Runaway Bride. I was like, I want to go Runaway Bride, but yeah, then that opens up. So, and Runaway Bride. And we're going to have to end this question because, like, otherwise I'm just going to
keep spewing them out.
I'll just be on IMDb adding to a list.
There's so many. There are so many good ones.
So many.
And it's fun to see that rom-com coming back again too. Mm-hmm. So it's just very much back.
Yeah, absolutely. They're so fun to play.
And we love it. Do you have a favorite TV show or a TV show that you're currently binging?
I did start watching Peaky Blinders when we were shooting last season. and talk about a difference in tone.
Yeah.
But what I loved is it's the same time period. And I love Cillian Murphy. I think he's the most brilliant actor working today. I thought Oppenheimer actually just blew my mind. I'm still not over it. I'm so happy he won the Oscar. I'm such a fan. But yeah, I got into Peaky Blinders this past year. Phenomenal. I do love a good time period drama. I always have. So I'll say that. And then my guilty pleasure, which I feel like I just outed myself on the internet so long ago, is Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
It's the silliest.
You and everybody else.
Silliest TV show. But it's become my comfort show. I don't know. It just came out at the right time in life. I started college and that was what everyone was watching. And for whatever reason, it just takes me back to a happy time. So It's silly. I can't recommend it, but I love it.
I can't recommend it.
I think you are not alone.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
you're not alone. Everybody is watching that.
I mean,
stuff.
I love a high caliber show, but sometimes you just need to laugh, and Snooki's really funny.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
when that came out, we were all excited because Pauly D is from where I live in Rhode Island.
No way!
Sometimes, like in the clubs, and you'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" Yeah,
that is incredible. You would see him? I've actually thought about this. I would go see him in Vegas. I have not, but I'd probably be starstruck. I don't get starstruck often working with actors, but reality is a different ball of wax. I don't understand it. And therefore I'm mystified. Like, okay, I would love to see Pauly D DJing.
That would be fine. Is he still hanging out by you there, Sarah? You run into him?
I don't think anybody cares anymore, so I don't hear.
You're missing out.
It's like, all the 40-year-olds were all like, "Oh, Pauly D was at Dunkin' Donuts." No,
That's
I have no idea where he is.
And then the younger generation just has no clue, just no idea who these people are. No, they're fun. When I was shooting with Marcus Rosner, he is this exact. I do too.
Yeah,
he's the exact same age as me, and we discovered while we were working together that we both have a kind of mild obsession with Jersey Shore. And he told this story about how he saw Vinny at a gym in LA, and I was like, "Oh, what? No way!" Like, so we're just going on, and then we're like, "Should we just watch the Boardwalk episode with Ron?
Yeah.
Like, should we just watch?" So we were shooting. It was like 11 p.m. We're at some house in the middle of nowhere. And then we're in our little green room, and we were just huddled watching Jersey Shore in between all these romantic scenes we were doing. And then we were just coming back and laughing, hysterically crying. People were coming in. They're like, "What's so funny?" We're like, "There's this episode." Anyway, I was just so happy in that moment. And anytime I hear news about Jersey Shore, I text Marcus. I'm like, "Oh, Marcus, did you hear this?" And usually he's like, "Yeah, I did."
Hysterical.
He's one of our favorite people. We've had him on.
Have you?
Oh
yeah, for sure.
He's really great to us.
Yeah, and plus he's just kind of visionary. The whole like production things, like
I know he's worked so hard.
He's got a When Calls a Heart connection.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
You guys have done movies, right?
Yes.
And Hallmark's really into cameos or coming back.
Yeah,
I feel like Charles needs to come on back.
Marcus and I were joking about this, but not really joking. We were kind of like, "Ha, wouldn't it be funny?" But you should really come back on the show.
No, it would be really fun. I'm in. I ship it.
He's such a fan favorite, and he's worked so hard. And he's done so many movies, and so many people have kept up with what he's been up to.
Yeah.
And I think there's just something to be said for a legacy character kind of coming back, and what that means to a fandom who's been with the show for so long. The payoff in that is astronomical. It's just so cool. And especially to see a check-in, like, where is this character? Did they get married? What are they doing? Are they happy? Just so many questions. And I think the fans would appreciate it so much that any legacy character from the show, anytime there's even a discussion of someone coming back, I'm like jumping up and down, so excited for everybody.
After your guys' last movie, I was like, he needs to come back. He needs to come back.
Yes.
Like,
I should send a text about this today because I agree.
Yeah, tell Marcus, he'll know who we are. We like, he's great. We love him. I'm in. Plus, you guys have had some crazy cameos or people come back to see where they are. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Billy Hamilton needs to come for a check-in.
That's a very good one.
Totally.
Yeah, and we know Andrew's also been on multiple times. Like, he's very open to.
Is he?
To be the skunk.
The sweetest.
He's like, I'd come back to be the skunk.
I think it would be so fun. It'd be so fun to do a season where every episode, there for some reason or another, there's a crisis that calls a bunch of people.
Come back.
Although I know Carson's sister-in-law. Yes.
Yes.
I love Cindy. I've known her for years. That's the thing. It's a fun community because we really do all know each other for the most part.
Right.
There's a few that you miss, but maybe you'll see each other at an event or a dinner or something. But yeah, these are all such wonderful people.
Right, and we've had all of these people on our.
I love that.
So lovely.
Well, that we can just gossip.
That'll be fun. We'll just have, we can have up to 10. We could have a giant hangout.
Perfect.
It would be perfect. Wait, where were we?
Okay. Go ahead, Julie.
You go.
Okay. Do you have a favorite food and drink? Let's combine them.
Ooh, I love sushi, and I love salt and vinegar chips, and I love a latte.
Oh,
those are my go-to.
Latte, yep.
Do you make a fancy latte or do you pick it up?
I do every morning. Yeah.
Got the machine.
Oh yeah, definitely have the machine. When I lived downtown, I used to go out and about and get my coffee. But no, now like I know what I'm doing, and I love my morning latte. I don't really get to drink it hot because there's kids running around, craziness. But yes, love a good latte in the morning.
The nice ritual of making it. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a favorite band or singer?
Ooh, I love Lana Del Rey.
Oh yeah,
I love her music. It's so nostalgic and old school vibes. I don't know. I fell in love with her music when I was living in LA when I was 22, and whenever I hear her music, it just brings me back to the freeways and hitting my auditions and just love her.
Good answer. What about a favorite musical?
Ooh. Oh gosh. I mean, that's really hard because I grew up seeing musicals. I was in musical theater. I'd say, the musical Oliver Twist has a special place in my heart. That was the first musical I was ever a part of as a kid.
Oh, fun.
And I love the story.
Were you an orphan?
I wasn't an orphan. I was a barmaid. I had a solo. I didn't get Nancy, but the second runner-up who didn't get Nancy got a barmaid role. I have a name. Her name was Nell.
Yeah.
That was it. But I mean, that was such a special musical for me, just because that's kind of what got me interested in acting, I would say.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that too. That's good. Okay. All right. Let's start to wrap things up. But when we had Kevin McGarry on a few months ago, I guess now, we asked him for an Easter egg for season 11, and he said his Easter egg was Easter eggs. So could you give us an Easter egg?
I know exactly why he said that. That's so funny.
We'll find out maybe, but that's the point that he came back around and said Easter egg.
That is such a good answer. I'm devastated I can't copy him.
Yeah, there'll be what did he say? Treats and Easter eggs for people that have been watching for a long time from the beginning. And then he came back and said Easter eggs. That's honestly, no one's gonna top that answer. That is a brilliant answer. It's multifaceted, it's interesting, and I totally know what he means. And yes. So I wish I could just carbon copy give you that.
Easter eggs back. Okay.
You must have been like, okay.
We posted again. We did see the descriptors for episodes 1 through 4. And so episode 4 is
an Easter egg hunt.
So that's all we got.
That's on track, but again, very good answer. So multifaceted. I wish I could just but I won't get in Taylor's here. Okay. I want to give a really good answer for what I can say about sort of summarizing,
or even something to look for on set, or
or something like
it can be faith,
I love that. I love the infirmary. So
I do too. Ooh, I want to say. Okay, if I give you a word.
Yeah. Give us whatever you want. People love this stuff.
Oh gosh, the pressure because I want it to be good. I'm gonna say emergency.
Emergency. I will age myself so much right here. My favorite show as a tiny child sucking my thumb was Emergency.
Really?
Yeah. Johnny Gage, Roy DeSoto.
Oh, get out of town. That's so funny.
I'm just like,
Emergency. Huh. Okay, then I picked the right word because I was struggling. I had a few in my mind.
It's like my life too. So
that's so
yeah.
Emergency. Yeah.
Okay. So your Easter egg is emergency.
Yeah.
So now we have Easter egg and emergency.
There you go. I don't think anyone else will say emergency. So I think yeah.
Okay, I'm liking that. I feel like that's a good place to end up. So where can we find you on social media? I mean, we already know you.
Yay! I'm at Andrea K. Brooks. Most places, and then that'd be Instagram, TikTok. I've oh my gosh, I've been so not inactive, but I'm not on social media to the same degree that I used to, just given craziness with little babies running around. Andrea K. Brooks on Instagram, Andrea K. Brooks on TikTok, Andrea Brooks Actor on Facebook. I do have a page there. And what am I missing? Oh, Twitter now X. Andrea K. Brooks as well.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I'm usually faster with that. What is social media?
Same. We're just like, wait. We all still call it Twitter, and then we're like,
I know.
We're tweeting because we're not.
What is it now? If you're not tweeting, you're
Xing.
Posting. I don't know.
We've been saying Xing. We just still say tweeting.
I'll go with whatever you guys say. So I'll say Xing. That still sounds a little strange, but that's okay. Trying to keep up with the times. It's difficult.
Something else. Xing, whatever. Okay. Okay, Andrea, tell everybody when we can watch One Calls a Heart and where.
So One Calls a Heart is coming back to you for season 11. It will be airing Sunday nights starting April 7th. I didn't double check that, but
that's correct.
Pretty positive that is correct. Usually I always have a little write-up for myself. April 7th, I have confirmation. April 7th, 2024. And we hope you'll join us for another really fun season.
We're excited. So hang on here 1 second. We'll end our recording. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening.
Thank you. Thanks for putting up with my rambling. I know I go on tangent.
To ramble with us.
Perfect.